So this is my eyeshadow palette drawer. Ooh, there's 2 of them. I do need to declutter these, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I struggle with eyeshadow palettes. I just genuinely love eyeshadow palettes. I have a deep, deep love for the art of doing your eyeshadow and things like that. So I do tend to struggle getting rid of eyeshadow palettes, but I am gonna try to be a little bit more hard on myself. I'm gonna try to kind of be a little bit more harsh. Out of this whole declutter kind of series, this one is probably going to be the one where I do the worst. I mean, let's just get into it and we'll kind of see how it goes. I'm a little nervous, but I'm gonna try my best. So let's start over here, I guess. So this is the Colored Rain Queen of Hearts palette. I really love this palette. It's probably one still to this day. It was at one point my all-time favorite eyeshadow palette. Now it's more of just in the top 3, I would say. I still know that I can pull this palette out at any point in time and it is the perfect, most beautiful palette. This is just such a dreamy color story to me. And the formula on these shimmers and mattes is really, really phenomenal. So I'm very obviously gonna keep this. The Dominique Cosmetics Berries and Cream palette. I had this in a video for products that I don't really use anymore. For whatever reason, this one I don't use it that much. So I think I'm gonna put this in a maybe for a minute. I'm not 100% sold that I wanna get rid of this because when I used it in the video, I loved how it looked, but there's no point keeping something that I'm not gonna reach for. So I'm gonna see how much I get rid of and see if there's something that I can keep that will kind of mimic this color story and have a similar vibe to it. So I don't have to keep that, but if I, get rid of a lot of stuff, I might keep this one, allow myself to keep it and try to get more use out of it. I'm always hesitant to keep things just because I like them now, because I've had makeup go bad and then I can't give it to somebody else or repurpose it in any way. Let's put this in the maybe for now. So that's those 2. We'll talk about this one too. I recently got this. This is the Supreme Nudes from Artist Couture. I've only used it once so far. I used it in my video talking about the James Charles I believe it's the video that went up yesterday. I'm filming, editing, and uploading this one in the same day. So I used this yesterday and I really freaking loved it. I thought the look I created was stunning. I think this palette is really, really gorgeous and I'm absolutely keeping this. The shimmers looked so gorgeous. The mattes blended beautifully and I think it created a beautiful eye look. I love the little bits of green in here that are really subtle because I think it can make an eye look really pretty. So I'm gonna keep this for sure. Obviously, I'm gonna keep my palette, the Smoky Glow palette. I actually just got word today that this palette is restocking on May 1st. So get ready for that. A lot of you guys have been asking me. I believe everything is restocking, the whole collection. So the PR boxes, the eyeshadow palettes, the highlighter palettes, the lip gloss trios, and lip gloss individuals will all be for sale. So this will be back in stock and I'm really excited for more people to get it. So yeah, my beautiful little baby, my Smoky Glow palette. I love this. This is the Makeup Geek Matrix System palette. I bought this with the intention to do a review, and then kind of everything went down with Tina and Marlena, Tina the Fancy Face and Marlena, and there was a lot of issues with Makeup Geek, and I literally got it when that was all going down, and I just wasn't sure how comfortable I felt doing a review. It seems like Tina and Marlena have been able to work through that their own way, so I would do a review of this now that all of that has kind of been figured out and solved. If you guys would like to see it. I actually really like this palette. I critiqued it a little bit for the waste aspect of things, just because I do feel like you don't realize how much you're actually getting when you buy this, because all of the shadows do come individually wrapped to an extreme excessive point. A lot of people were very unhappy that I mentioned that, but I stand by that. I think this could have been packaged in a way that did not create so much waste. However, I think the actual formula and shimmers are really, really beautiful. So I'm gonna keep that. Expensive though, really expensive. I also have my Natasha Denona Love palette. I'm gonna keep this as well. This is a really cute palette. I think a lot of people compared this to the Smokey My palette when it first came out. I do think they're really different though. I don't think they're super, super similar. There's obviously a similar color story in the sense that there's purples and pinks and there's the red in there too. But I think you could get both palettes or just get the Love palette or just get this palette and be satisfied. But I'm gonna keep this because I do really like it. I have my Lunar Beauty palettes here. So this is the Strawberry Dreams palette and I love Manny's formula. I'm not gonna lie. I think this formula is really stunning. I will say I don't get a ton of use out of this one and I really prefer the Moonspell palette just because it's so much more interesting. Like these purples and blues and these shimmers are a much more interesting color story, where this color story I definitely have in my collection already. So I think I might get rid of this one. Yeah, I think I might get rid of this one because I really preferred this one, and I know I have this color story like 10 times over. So I'm gonna get rid of this one, but not because I don't think it's good. I actually think it's really good. I just am not gonna really reach for it, I know, because I have other things. This is a really special palette. My friend Georgia got me this for we did a like Secret Santa on the Half Cousins podcast, and she made me my own little Lethal Cosmetics palette, and this one is so special. These shades are actually freaking gorgeous. I did a tutorial Tuesday with them, and this is like beautiful. I remember I had my broken wrist when I did this, and I created like one of the most beautiful looks. So this is a gorgeous palette. Okay, now we're getting into my Anastasia palettes. I used to have like all of them, and I decluttered a lot because I just like wasn't reaching for them. And I can tell you right now, I think I'm gonna get rid of some more. I'm going to keep my Jackie Aina palette. I think this is one of my favorite Anastasia palettes that they came out with last year when they were releasing that like barrage of palettes. This was definitely one of my favorites that came out of all of those. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous palette that's really unique. I know Jackie Aina, a lot of people feel a certain type of way about her, but like this is truly, truly stunning. So I'm gonna keep that. I'm also gonna keep my Soft Glam palette. This is just kind of a go-to for me. I use this a lot. These all have a pretty decent dent in them. Usually when I travel, this is the palette that I'm gonna take with me. It's very neutral, really good neutral. I think I am going to get rid of the Imrezy palette. I really don't even know why I bought this. Well, I do know. It was because it was on sale and I got sucked in because this quadrant right here of pink is like unreal. Like this pink quadrant over here, I absolutely love. I've used all 4 of these pinks and they are freaking stunning. Like so beautiful, this quadrant of pinks. I cannot keep a whole palette for a quadrant of pinks. I just can't do it, unfortunately. But I will say these pinks are stunning. So if you don't already have all these neutral colors that are like kind of boring and you want this quadrant of pink as well, I would say get it because it's beautiful. But I will say the rest of the palette just isn't interesting enough for me to keep at this point. I'm also going to get rid of my Modern Renaissance. I know. It's honestly at this point, I've had this for about 3 years. I've hit pan on a few shades because I really loved this palette, especially at one point in time I was like obsessed. It's not that I'm not still obsessed with it because I do really like it, but it's just old and it's not performing the same way that it used to. It's kind of weird because I have eyeshadow palettes from a similar time when I bought this one that still perform amazingly well. But I know Anastasia palettes tend to go bad quicker, and this one definitely did. It's definitely not a good palette anymore. However, I'm happy that I like got use out of this. I obviously hit pan on it. There's a lot of shades in here that have really big dents in them. And I know for a fact that like this palette was loved and used when I had it. So I'm very happy about that, but she's gonna go in the trash. She's also ripped and like kind of fallen apart. I am also going to get rid of my Carly by Belle palette. Not because it's bad. I've talked about this before. I feel like I bought this palette a little bit because I felt like she was the underdog, and also because I did swatch it in stores and it was really beautiful and it was on sale, so I felt like it was a reasonable price for what it was. I really haven't used it since I bought it. I think I kind of just bought it as like a little bit of an impulse buy. Kind of the same thing with the Imrezy palette. I'm kind of like that with Anastasia palettes because I just love the formula so much, but I'm definitely a little too impulsive with these ones. But I'm gonna like give this away because I know my sister would probably freaking love this too, but I just don't. It doesn't get used. There's no point in keeping it. I am obviously going to keep the Sultry palette. This one is, my love. This is my favorite Anastasia palette ever. Just the shimmers in this, unreal. I love the mix of cool tones and like slightly warmer pinky, like chocolatey brown tones. I think it's absolutely beautiful. So I could talk about this all day, but this is, and look at that packaging. My favorite thing about this packaging is it's that glittery, but the glitter doesn't come off when you touch it, which is like all I can ask for glittery packaging. So I'm gonna keep that. Oh my God, I'm down to 3, which honestly, if I had to pick, these are my top 3 for sure of Anastasia palettes that I've tried. The Dose of Colors Desi x Katie palette, this is hard for me because I don't like this. I don't like the green and the blue and this like weird brown, but this I love. Like I love this. I wish the palette just stopped here and was like a small palette because these shimmers are so hyper unique and beautiful, and these mattes are gorgeous, but 4 out of the 10 shades I never reach for and don't really use. So good though. Like these 2 shimmers and oh, it's like unreal. Yeah, I am gonna get rid of it, which makes me really sad actually because I do really like these shimmers. Let's put it with the Dominique Cosmetics palette. Let's put it with the maybes, see how well I do, and then we'll go from there, because I'm not fully sure I want to get rid of that yet. I feel like I shouldn't feel sad getting rid of things. The Gingerbread Spice palette, I actually do really like this palette. It's probably one of my favorite Too Faced palettes for sure, so I'm going to keep that. And the same thing with the Peach palette. This is old. old, but I still pull this out and like get some really, really cute looks out of it. So I am going to keep this one as well. All right, I feel like we are making some progress here. I have all of these Kaleidos palettes and I actually really like them. However, I know that there are color stories that I don't use, like this one. So I'm going to declutter these, but it's not because I don't really love the formula. It's just I won't reach for this type of color story. Like I just won't. This one I'm going to get rid of too. I won't use that color story. This one I'm going to keep because I love this color story. I think this one's really, really beautiful. So I'm going to keep that one. I'm also going to keep this one because I love that color story too. And then this one, this one I think I'm also going to get rid of. I just don't do greens. I just don't do it. It makes me sad because I do love the color story, but I just don't do the greens. So I'm going to get rid of this one as well. Let's do these right here. These are like my little quads. So I have the decaf quad from Midas Cosmetics, and I also have the macchiato quad. They have 4 of these quads, and I liked all of them, but this is definitely my favorite. If I was going to recommend one of the Midas coffee quads, I would recommend macchiato. Really cool color story. So I'm going to keep macchiato. I think I am going to get rid of decaf. I just don't reach for it because I have pinks in other palettes that are like this. Well, it's nice having it like little and concise. If I'm going to travel, I would just bring like a pink palette. I wouldn't bring this. I would bring a pink one, but I am going to keep the macchiato one because this is like, for a little weekend trip, this is like perfect. And it's just a really nice, cool color story that I really enjoy. I also have 2 Pat McGrath quads. I am going to keep both of these. They were really expensive. I don't necessarily think they were worth the money, but this shade I use so much in videos, and every single time I use it, all of the comments are about my eyeshadow and like what eyeshadow I'm wearing. What is that shimmer shade on your lid? It's this. This shade is super, super gorgeous, as is this one. And in this palette, I really love this pink shade and this pink shade. But I do wish all 4 were as beautiful and unique as these 2 shades in each palette are. Look how like it's so bright and reflective that it's like not even showing up on camera correctly, because they're just so, so beautiful. So I am going to keep those. This is my Mulan palette from ColourPop. I was sent this. I am going to keep this because I actually adored the shimmers in this palette, and I think it's a really nice, a little bit more cool toned palette. It's kind of similar to the Sultry palette where it's got the mix of like cool tones, like these taupey browns and like kind of taupey grays, and then also some warm tones. So I'm going to keep this. This is a little bit difficult though. I have all of the large Huda Beauty palettes, and I'm struggling if I should keep these. So I do have the Huda Beauty Rose Gold Remastered palette, which looks like this. I have the Desert Dusk palette, which I'm going to keep this for sure. This is definitely one of, my legs are falling asleep. This is definitely one of my favorite Huda Beauty palettes that she's ever made. I just am like obsessed with this. I also have my new nude palette that I ended up getting for Christmas, but I also have the newest one, which is the Mercury Retrograde that I got this past Christmas. I usually get these ones for Christmas because they come out around Christmas time. So all of these I've pretty much gotten for Christmas. That's like the one thing my aunt gets me every year. She'll get me like the Huda palette. I'm so conflicted because I genuinely love these like a lot. I think I could get rid of this one, the rose gold one. It's just not that unique anymore. And while these shades, the shimmer shades up here, are really pretty, it's just not like the absolute best palette ever. I'm gonna keep the other 2 at the risk of being a little bit kind of like, But I just like the formula a lot, and I like the shades. I like the glitters. Whenever I do use these palettes, I genuinely love the looks that I create with them, so I am going to keep those. So these are my 2 big Pat McGrath palettes. So I have the Mothership 5, which I'm definitely keeping. 100% absolutely love this palette. It's stunning and gorgeous. I lusted after it for so long, and then Charles never buys me makeup because he's like, you have enough, and I do. But the occasional times he has, it's always been such a winner, and he actually bought me this when I hit 10K, which was so sweet of him. He knew how much I wanted it, but he also knew I didn't want to pay for it because it's so expensive and it feels so crazy. So he actually bought this for me when I hit 10K, and I thought that was so sweet. And it kind of is sweet because it reminds me of like that moment of like hitting 10K and all that. So I'm always going to keep this one. This one, however, this is the 6. This one, I am just, okay. I don't open this one and I'm like, you know what I mean? I don't open this and instantly get as excited as I do when I open the Mothership 5. I open the Mothership 5 and I'm like, oh my God, I love this palette so much. And I don't get that spark, not to be all like Marie Kondo, but I don't get that spark of joy when I open this palette. And I just feel like because I paid so much for it, I should get that spark of joy when I open it, and I just don't. I have a hard time using this palette because I really only use the shimmer shades. I don't really like the mattes in this particular one. The formula of the mattes are just not my favorite. And even the shimmers, there's only a few of these really like beautiful transformative shades. And I kind of have those in this quad now too. So I think I'm actually shockingly gonna get rid of this one just because I genuinely just don't think I'm gonna get my money's worth out of it. Like I really don't. I'd rather give it to somebody who like will love it and actually use it, you know? Fun fact about Pat McGrath too, I'm actually a little miffed. I didn't know how to like address this, I guess, but I ordered the Mothership, the Rose palette, the Mothership Rose. I think it's like the 7, I don't know. It was like the big rose palette that I was like lusting after for months. I ordered it for myself right when this quarantine started was when it was supposed to get delivered, and it allegedly got delivered, but something it either got stolen or I never received the package or got lost in transit or something happened because I never got the palette. And I've emailed Pat McGrath customer service. At this point, it's been 7 weeks since it was supposed to be delivered. I've emailed them at this point like 7 or 8 times and have not gotten a single response, and I don't know what to do because I know that it's like we're obviously going through a lot and people are cutting back on customer service representatives, so I understand it taking a while to get back to me, but 7 weeks feels like a really, really long time, especially after me sending about an email a week trying to like follow up on the situation. And also if it was just like a palette that wasn't over $100, I literally would have just been like, okay, I'd take the L, like whatever, but it was such an expensive palette and I'm just like so miffed that I just like don't I hate to sound like annoying because I know there's bigger problems. That's why I haven't really wanted to post about it on social media, but at this point I like don't know what else to do, and I like need suggestions. Like has anybody had this issue with Pat McGrath and did they get it resolved? Because it's really frustrating to pay that much for a palette and then like literally just never get it and never hear even a reason as to like why you didn't get it or any. If they would just respond and be like, we can't help you, that would be better than nothing. So I'm a little miffed about that, but I am gonna declutter this palette too, just because this doesn't spark as much, doesn't spark joy. This Stila palette, I have such mixed emotions about this because the shimmers, oh, I don't want to show you my messy room. My room is so messy. The shimmers in this palette are unreal. They're so, so, so beautiful, but the mattes suck so bad. These 4 mattes all suck. And I don't tend, I'm the type of person that with the palette, I sometimes will reach for just a glitter shade or whatever, like that does happen, but it's usually going to be like a smaller palette. I worry about keeping such a big palette for just these glitter shades. Realistically, just these 4, because these are the 4 that I'm like absolutely obsessed with. So I don't know, but I think I'm gonna get rid of it. I think I am. I also am starting to think that maybe I should do like a Poshmark and maybe I could donate the money or something. Because I don't really, all of my friends are getting a little sick of me giving them makeup because over the past few years I've given so much makeup away. So I actually might make like a Poshmark and maybe just sell it like really discounted, and then I could donate the money or something. Let me work out the details, and if I end up doing that, I'll put it in the outro that I'm doing that, and I'll link it down below. Because I actually feel like this is, I could make a little bit of money doing this, and maybe we could like donate it to something. But so this palette I am going to declutter. All right, next. This is a palette from NARS. This is the Afterglow palette. It's pretty new. I actually really like this palette. I'm not even gonna lie. This is another one that's like just a really good neutral palette. Like it's kind of just a perfect neutrally pinky palette. The shimmers in here are really gorgeous. I really bought this because I was sold on this because of how compact and small it is. I've actually been doing a lot more traveling recently. Well, obviously not now because we're stuck at home, but before the quarantine, I was doing a lot more traveling and had a lot of trips planned, like a lot of trips planned actually for the end of 2020, which now a lot of those are getting pushed to 2021, which is fine. But I bought this initially because I was like, oh, this will be a perfect kind of summer travel palette because I was going to be doing a lot of traveling this summer. So obviously I don't use it for that anymore, but I'm going to keep it because I actually love the formula. I'd never really tried NARS eyeshadows before, and I actually really love them. I don't love the blush formula. I love this eyeshadow palette formula. These shimmers are really great. They go really well with the mattes. It's a nice, like, cohesive little palette. Maybe that'll fit here. ColourPop Sweet Talk palette. Absolutely love this palette. One of my favorite ColourPop palettes. Just so well done. Such a good color story. The shimmers are so, so pretty and beautiful. Like 10 out of 10, just really like this palette. So I'm gonna keep that. That was one of my favorites of 2019 because just a solid palette, man. My mom actually got me this. She was at Marshall's a while back and they had this, and she knew Becca was like a brand that I talked about before. So she just grabbed it for me, I guess, because it was a good deal. I don't think I'm gonna keep this one just because it's got like this weird kind of like mattes on either side here, and then these weird like baked raised shadows. These aren't bad for sure. I've used it a couple of times and I don't hate it, but I'm just like realistically not going to reach for this very often. But it is a really pretty palette. So, all right, the Just Peachy Mattes. This one I'm conflicted on because I do love this. No lie, I really like this. I don't know what I should do about this one because I really love it and I actually do get a lot of use out of it. And I like this one because I can pair it with like my Stila glitters or my Kaja bento boxes, and it's a nice like perfect matte palette. It's also one of my only all matte palettes. I really don't have a lot of all matte palettes. I still get enough use out of it that I'm like okay with that one. This is my, everything's like falling back here. This is my Tartelette in Bloom palette, and I had one of these, used it to absolute death because I loved it so much. It was my absolute favorite neutral palette. I used it every day, especially when I was like, I have vivid memories of when I first started my channel using this for like my 10-minute everyday makeup routine, because when I was in my community college, this is what I wore on my eyes every single day. But then I threw it away because it ended up going really bad. And then it went on sale at Ulta, and I genuinely missed it. I have never decluttered something and missed it, but with this palette, I decluttered it and I genuinely missed it for my collection. Like I missed having it. So I ended up buying another one, which I never do. Like things I don't do that. I never rebuy stuff, but I rebought this and I don't regret it. I really like this palette. This shade Funny Girl just has my heart, and I actually got it for a really good price. I think I paid like $24 for it or something like that. So I'm keeping her. I'm not the biggest Tarte fan, but that one, like, that's a good neutral palette. Okay, now we're getting into, oh, there's another ColourPop before we get into all my Midas palettes. This is the Making Mauves palette from ColourPop. I was sent this in PR. I love this. Gorgeous, like absolutely gorgeous. However, all of my 9-pan ColourPop palettes are in the second drawer that we're going to get into. I'm just going to not keep it in this drawer because it should be with all the other 9-pan ones. But I love this palette. It's so pretty. I have some tough choices to make with those 9 pans we're about to get into. I'm definitely keeping my Flower Bomb palette, just to let you guys know. They recently updated the packaging to something that's like gorgeous, but this is like the OG one. This is such a fun palette. I love it so much. This has been one of my favorite palettes. It was one of my favorite palettes I got last year in PR and just got in general. I truly love this palette, so I'm absolutely keeping this one. So this was the collab with Julie that Midas Cosmetics did. This was the Temptations palette. It is a gorgeous palette, but frankly, I just don't reach for it. It's not because I think it's bad or anything. It's kind of a color story that I'm not particularly obsessed with. And again, I'd rather be able to give it to somebody who actually will like use it. So I'm going to declutter that one. I am definitely going to keep the High Times palette. I really like this one. It's got just such a cool, this was their 420 palette last year. And then I know this year I just got a notification that they came out with press, I think they're pressed glitters or something that are really cool. So this is, I think, a really cool palette. I like the twist on it being a 420 palette, and it still has all the greens obviously, but it has these more grungy colors too, like the grungy oranges and things like that. I think this is a cool palette, so I'm gonna keep that one. These three. I'm definitely gonna keep La Dolce Vita. This is another one I really like. It's a cool, just like rainbow palette. I think it's really nice. It's definitely not Midas's most interesting color story. I think now they come out with really, really interesting color stories, and this is definitely not their most interesting, but I really do like this palette. I think the vibrant colors are really cool, and it's got a fun little selection of greens and blues, which I don't really use that often, but when I want to, I usually grab for this one. The Love is Love palette was the Pride palette that they came out with for June. I think it's just because I already have the La Dolce Vita, which does have a little bit, there are some similarities. that I don't think I need this one anymore. Yeah, I'm probably gonna get rid of this one too. I just don't really reach for it. And same thing, it's hard getting rid of, like, it is harder getting rid of stuff when you get it in PR. Like, I feel the same way about the Kaleidos palettes because I feel bad, but also at the same time, I don't want to keep stuff that I'm just not using. This honeycomb palette I actually loved a lot when I first got it, but recently I just haven't really been reaching for it. I think maybe it's because I have so many other 9 pans from other brands, but I just don't really reach for this one. The shade Royal Jelly though is so cool and like reflective and fun, and I really like it. But I think I am going to get rid of this one as well. So I'm gonna keep Flower Bomb, La Dolce Vita, and High Times. And those are definitely my favorite palettes. I feel like this is a good representation of like over the time my favorite Midas palettes that have come out. Obviously the Smoky Glow palette is included in that. All right, so we've made a lot of space here. Wow, we got rid of a ton, but maybe we could condense everything to one drawer. Can you imagine? So now we're gonna move on to the second drawer. Okay, so here is my second drawer. Let's just like really get into it because there is a lot still here. So this is where I keep like my bigger palettes and also some of my smaller palettes. These are 4 palettes from Ace Beauté. I actually got these in PR from a brand called Yes Style. And I remember my friend K-Swizz on Instagram raved about these palettes. I haven't really had a chance to use them yet because I did just get them like last month, but I might declutter the ones I know. Like this I think I'll use. But that brings up an interesting question. This is very similar to the Dominique Cosmetics palette that I wanted to get rid of. So would I rather have this Dominique Cosmetics one or would I rather have this Ace Beauté one? I think I would rather have the Dominique Cosmetics one. So I am gonna get rid of this one and keep my Dominique Cosmetics one. This one's kind of interesting. This is kind of an interesting color story. So I think I am gonna keep that one. Don't really like it though now that I'm looking at it. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm just not a huge fan of this color story right now. Feels, I don't know, something about this is not speaking to me. So I'm gonna declutter those 3 and just keep this kind of cool one. And I'm also gonna keep my Dominique Cosmetics palette now. Because I didn't want to get rid of that one. Also over here, I have this Sugar Pill palette that is their little, what was this called? The Fun Size palette. I actually really love this palette. I think it's so cute. I love that it's got like this kind of interesting color story and it's really concise and small. I am definitely gonna keep this. These Makeup Geek palettes I actually love. I really like that they are so concise, and these again, kind of similarly to the NARS palette, just really good traveling palettes or really good palettes that I can just bring on the go. Or even for when I'm doing other people's makeup, like these are just great palettes for that because they're so concise and well put together. So I'm gonna keep those too. My Violet Voss Holy Grail palette. I actually used this the other day because I saw it and I was like, hi, I haven't seen you in a while. And you know, it was a cute look that I put together, but I don't think I would necessarily miss this. This has made it through so many declutters. This has like been decluttered, been put back. It always somehow persists through my declutters because I think a part of me just doesn't really want to get rid of it, but I know that I don't really use it. It's just kind of sitting here. So I'm going to get rid of this one. This is actually a palette I got when I was in London and I love this palette. The color story is super unique and cool. These glitter shades are really gorgeous, and I believe there's a video of me using this in my full face of makeup I got in the UK. I'm also going to keep this Colored Rain palettes, the Colored Rain Vivid Pigments palette. This is probably, if you wanted like a Brights palette, this is my recommendation for a Brights palette. This is the best Brights palette I've ever had. I cannot stress enough how much I absolutely adore this palette. I think it is easily the best Brights palette I've ever used. So whenever I want to do a Brights look, this is usually the palette I grab for. It is just phenomenal. So definitely keeping her. I'm definitely keeping my Tati Beauty palette. I actually love this palette. I didn't give it the absolute best review when I did a first impressions, but after using it for an extended period of time, bringing it on trips with me, and just generally really falling a lot more in love with it, I really, really love this palette. It's just so freaking good. Like, I don't know how else to say that other than it's just so gosh darn good. She really crushed it with this palette. Bare Necessities palette from ColourPop. This was sent to me in PR. It's like their big palette. I'm conflicted because I do use this. Like, this absolutely does get use. I don't know if I need it. I feel like sometimes I use it just because I'm like, oh, I have it, I might as well use it. I don't know if I use it because I'm like, oh my god, it's the best neutrals palette ever. But I think I am probably gonna get rid of this. I don't really need this many shades. I do like it though. I'm conflicted. I love ColourPop's formula. Let me think about this one. I don't know if I absolutely like need that in my life. I also have this Blush Tribe palette. This is their Fall Fusion palette. I think I am finally gonna get rid of this. I think I did get rid of it and then I put it back because I looked at it again and I was like, wait, I love you. But I haven't used it since doing that, so I just don't need this. My Melt Stack. This is a good one. Do use this, but I absolutely hate the packaging. And it's definitely not my favorite formula. And I can't bring it anywhere. Like, I can't really travel with it. I don't even like bringing it out of my drawer because the packaging is so bad. Yeah, let me get rid of this. I'm not gonna use that. Okay, my Norvina palettes. So I have two of the Norvina Pro palettes. I have the first one that came out that looks like this. I really like this one. And then I also have the third one that came out, this, that I also really like. I am gonna keep these. I think they're fun. And I would like to get, should I keep this number 3, realistically? Do I? Do I use this? Oh, I don't know. I feel like I want to keep it. I'm gonna keep it actually. Summer's coming up. I also think this is like kind of a YouTube-y reason and a little bit of a cop-out for some people I know, but I do my trying to look like an Instagram model series, and I have ideas of getting that back up a little bit, and I kind of had to stop doing it because I broke my wrist, but I do want to get back into trying to look like an Instagram model series, and these are perfect for those series because these are very like Instagram-y colors, so I'll get use out of them that way, even if I don't get like a traditional use out of them, so I'm gonna keep those two. Underneath that, we have my Slush Cosmetics palette from September Rose Cosmetics. Just not as obsessed with this palette as I once was. I bought this because of Nisa. Nisa like loved this shade Banana and she really liked the palette. And I was like, you know, I'll try it. And I have to say I liked it when I first got it, but now I have the Vivid Pigments palette from Colored Rain, and I just think the formula is so much better, worlds better. So I don't ever really reach for this because if I'm gonna reach for brights, I'll reach for this. So I think I am gonna get rid of this one. So this is the P. Louise Secret Sinner palette. I love this, like a lot. The formula on these shadows is beautiful, and I actually use this a lot, especially when I'm like, weirdly, this is the palette I always reach for when I'm going out. I don't know why. I just love the like pinky purpley vibe when I go out to like bars and stuff. I think it's a cool palette for that purpose. But however, it's so goddamn big. It's just so huge. Like it's literally, I have textbooks smaller than this. So I don't love how much room it takes up. I think I'm gonna keep it though, because I do really love the formula. And also getting this shipped here it was so expensive, I know, to get it shipped. And I do like the formula and I do use it. All right, we're moving along, folks. So this is the Milkshake palette from Bombshell Cosmetics. Looks like this. Conflicted, because I actually think this is really gorgeous. I love these shimmers in this palette. I think it's fully a shimmer palette, which I think is really cool. And why I wanted to buy it was because I wanted to have more shimmer toppers, because I love and live for shimmer toppers, but it's awkwardly shaped, which I don't love. And I'm trying to think of the last time I actually reached for it instead of something like my Kaja bento boxes or, you know, my Stila glitter. Like I'm trying to think of the last time I really reached for this. And the answer is a very long time ago. So I think I'm gonna get rid of that. Okay, so these are all of my other Natasha Denona palettes. I do have I don't know why the Love one is up in this drawer and not with these, but whatever. This is the Sunrise palette, which I actually love. This is like such a good palette. The formula is super solid and I really enjoy this palette. So I am going to keep this. I really like it. I think it's time to just get rid of my Sunset palette. I don't really ever use it anymore because I just don't like it. It's not that I don't like it. That's too harsh, but I don't think this particular palette was worth the money. I just don't. Like, that's just how I feel about it. I just don't think it was worth the money. I did get a lot of use out of it when I first got it. You can see these golds are like destroyed. I did use it a ton, but I just don't get use out of it. And I feel like if I cleaned this up, I could sell it to somebody who like is gonna love it and use it forever for like 50 bucks instead of the 129. You know what I mean? The gold palette, however, I'm obsessed with. Except the shades always fall out. I have this problem a lot with this palette where this blue one and this gold one always fall out. But this palette I absolutely love. A subscriber actually bought me this, which is so crazy that she did that. It was so sweet. And I love this palette. Like I absolutely love it. I love the kind of cooler tones of the greens and the blues and the taupey browns. I think this is really cool. I actually use this palette way more than I thought I would. It's a stunning palette and I get a ton of use out of it. So I'm definitely going to keep this one. Let's do not ColourPop palettes. This is a KKW Beauty palette. My mom actually got me the wedding collection. My mom is the sweetest person ever. And when I got engaged, she got me the little KKW Beauty wedding box that she came out with. And so I'm going to keep this especially. I think I'll probably try to incorporate this a little bit on my wedding day, just because I think it's so sweet that my mom got it for me. The Midas Cosmetics Lemonade palette. Love this palette. Freaking love. 10 out of 10. Love this palette. It's such a good yellow palette. I absolutely love this. I think they did a great job with this brown in particular. It's like a yellow brown and I just love it. I have this Huda Neon palette. I think I am gonna get rid of this. Not that I don't like it, just don't reach for it. Yeah, that's simple. And then these are my 9 pens. These just have so much hair in them. Do I have any hair in my head? It's all in my makeup. These are my 9 pans. It's hard for me to remember right now which ones got sent to me and which ones didn't. Mostly because when I first got on ColourPop's PR list, they sent me this like box of stuff. There's just like a bunch of stuff. I don't fully, I know I bought this one. This is the Smoke Show palette. And I really like this palette. I don't have, you can probably see from this collection, I don't have like a ton of black and like gray cool tone palettes, and I really like this one. This silver here is also the best silver I have in my collection, so I'm gonna keep that one. Okay, here's the tea, the Blue Moon palette. I did buy this one too. I really like this palette. It's a great formula. I don't have a ton of blue in my collection, but the reason for that is because I don't wear blue, and if I do a blue look, I usually just grab like a palette that just has blue in it, like the random shades. I don't think I need this entire 9 pan dedicated to blue. I think I am gonna get rid of this one. That makes me sad because it's a really cute palette. All right, this is the Baby Got Peach. I think this one was sent to me. You know I bought these two, and I know I got sent this one, and I think I bought this one, so I think I got sent this one. So this is the Baby Got Peach. I'm gonna tell you right now, oh my good God, am I okay? I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna get rid of this one, and I'm also gonna get rid of these two. I just don't ever reach for the Ooh La La or the It's My Pleasure, especially now that I have this one from ColourPop, the Making Mauves, that is just so much more of a me color story. So I am gonna get rid of these two and the Baby Got Peach. I'm gonna keep going coconuts, and then I'm going to get rid of the Bare Necessities, because I realistically, this is just a mini version of the Bare Necessities, and this has the colors that I like. So I'm gonna get rid of Bare Necessities, keep the Coconuts palette, because I do really like the browns and neutral shades this is. And then, oh, this is getting intense. Lilac You a Lot. Haven't even used this yet. I think I'm going to get rid of it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Let's try to see if I can fit everything into one drawer. That would be really fun. So I was in fact able to fit everything in this drawer. I don't know if I'm gonna keep it that way, honestly, just because I have the extra drawer, and I don't love that some of these big palettes have to be stacked on. Like, that's just not my favorite thing. But I actually got rid of 32 palettes today, which is nuts. Like, that's actually really crazy to me. And I think I actually am gonna just create like a Poshmark or something, or Mercari or something, and sell these palettes and also some of the other stuff I've decluttered, like the blushes and highlighters I've decluttered, if they're in good shape, and I'll be donating all of the proceeds. I think I'll probably just do Feeding America, because that is the big thing right now, the big charity that's going around for COVID, and I would love to help in some way. So yeah, we'll sell this stuff, and whatever money, if you can buy stuff or you want to buy something, let me know, and we'll donate the proceeds. I think that's really cool. And then I actually could probably sell some stuff that I've gotten in PR and not be a shitty person for doing so, because I'll just donate it. Let me know what you guys think about that, because I think that's actually a fun idea. So yeah, this is my eyeshadow palette declutter. Still have a lot of eyeshadow palettes, obviously, but I definitely think I have drastically decreased what I have, and I'm actually really proud of that. I think this is a really, like, still obviously a crazy amount, but it feels good to have, like, look in here and be like, oh, I love all of these. So that's kind of fun, but yeah. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, or just subscribe, or do neither. Honestly, just so happy you're watching me. Thank you so much for being here. My merch, my social media, and my podcast I have with my fiance will be linked down below. Also, there'll be a link to register to vote. Utilize it. And please social distance if you can. You know, stay 6 feet apart. Do your part to help other people, because we absolutely need more of that right now. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys liked my little massive, I feel like I can safely put massive eyeshadow palette declutter in the title of this video and not get clocked. So that's fun. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!